Hello everybody. Welcome back to Pilates. I have a short and sweet track for you today. This one was highly requested. When we're ready, we'll begin our warm-up standing at the back of our mats. We can bring our ankles together, bring our toes together. We'll take a turn out of our toes, drawing them towards the upper corners of the mat. We'll let our heels follow, so our feet are stacked about underneath our hips here. From here, we're going to build our alignment up our bodies. We're going to take a little bend through the knees and then squeeze up through those glutes, bracing through our core, pulling that belly button back towards our spine. From here, let's take a couple rolls of our shoulders. And on that last little roll of our shoulders, let's set those shoulders back and away from our ears. From here, we'll hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands are going to travel down our shins, fingertips moving away from center here. Nice big inhale. Let's work those hands up to about mid-thigh. Back's going to stay nice and flat. Big exhale on the way down. We're just warming up through our posterior chain here, saying good morning to those hamstrings, to those glutes, and to finally that low back. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Next time we come on down to this bottom point, can you send those fingertips just a little bit further than they've gone so far? From here, we'll inhale into our circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. We'll hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands are going to come on down to the mat. We'll make a little tent with our fingers here. Nice big inhale. We'll open those left fingertips up towards the sky, taking a little stretch through that side body, keeping a gentle bend in those knees. Nice big exhale. Work those hands back on down to our bottom point. Nice big inhale. We'll come into our opposite side. Inhaling to lift those fingertips up towards the sky. Exhaling to lower it down nice and slow. Let's get one more each side. Big inhale. Our line of vision's following that hand. Taking a look at the back of our hand. Maybe we take a couple rolls of our wrist. Nice big exhale. Sweep it back down. Give our opposite side some love here. Rolling out that wrist. Nice big exhale. Sweep it down. From here, we'll keep those hands planted on down to the earth. We'll make a little tent with our fingers here. We can take a lift through that left heel, drawing our left knee on up towards our chest and lowering it down nice and slow. Alternating through these heel lifts. Just giving our legs some love here for 5. When we're ready, let's come on back to stillness together here. And we'll inhale into our circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. We'll hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands coming on down to the earth. Let's walk those hands out in front of us, coming into our plank position here. Option to stay in our full plank position or option to join me in our kneeling plank here. Either way, let's brace through our core. Pull that belly button up towards the sky. And we're going to pull those elbows in towards our waist as we lower our chest down towards the earth as slowly as possible here. Working through those triceps to defy gravity down. From here, we'll rest up into our 4-point position, hands stacking underneath shoulders, knees stacking underneath hips. We'll take a little tuck through the toes, use our core, lift those knees up off the ground, coming into our hover. From here, let's pike those hips up into the air, coming into our downward dog. We're drawing our chest parallel with our thighs, pressing those palms into the earth. Send those seat bones high. While we're here in our downward dog, now's a great time to pedal out those legs. Drawing our knees in towards our chest as we stretch that opposite heel just a little bit closer towards the earth. Let's stay here for 5. When we're ready, let's go back to stillness together. We'll inhale, take a slow sweep of that left leg, drawing our left heels up towards the sky. See if you can send those heels a little taller. We'll square those pinky toes down with the earth. Nice big exhale. Let's step that foot forward to be framed by our hands, coming into our low lunge here. From here, we can open up same arm towards same inner thigh. Send those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice big exhale. We'll sweep those hands on down to the ground. Big inhale as we sweep those hands back up to the sky. And nice big exhale as we sweep it back down. Hands coming to the sides of our feet here. We can hop or step that back foot forward to meet our front at the tippy top of our mat. We'll come into our halfway fold here first. Inhaling as we shine our chest forward. Exhaling on the way down. We'll inhale into our full circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. Let's hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands stacking to the sides of our feet. From here, we can hop or step those feet back behind us, coming back into our plank position here. Option to stay in that kneeling plank or option to join me in our full plank. Either way, we'll brace through our core, take a bend in those elbows close in towards our chest, Lower ourselves down to the earth as slowly as possible. Once we're down here, we'll press up into our 4-point position, hands stacking underneath shoulders, knees stacking underneath hips. Let's take a little tuck through our toes. Using our core, lift those knees up off the ground, come into our hover. We'll pike those hips up into the air, coming into our downward jog, shining our chest towards our thighs, pressing those palms into the earth. Let's walk out that downward dog once again. If you want to try something a little bit different this time, you can try bending opposite knee towards opposite elbow. Just having a little bit of rotation to this movement. And here for 5. When we're ready, let's come on back to stillness together. We'll inhale, take a slow sweep of that right leg this time, drawing those right heels up to the sky. See if you can square those pinky toes down with the earth. Nice big exhale. We'll step that foot forward to be framed by our hands, coming into our low lunge here. When we're ready, we can come into our world's greatest stretch by inhaling to open up, same arm towards same inner thigh, sending those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice big exhale. We'll sweep those hands on down to the ground. Big inhale as we sweep those hands back up to the sky. Nice big exhale. Sweep those hands down, planting them to the sides of our feet. From here, we can hop or step that back foot forward to meet our front to the tippy top of our mat. We'll come into our halfway fold here, shining our chest forward. Back's going to stay nice and flat. Nice big exhale on the way down. Inhale into that circle sweep, leading with our hearts. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Once we're up here, let's clasp our hands together and then flip those palms to face the ceiling. Find a little good morning stretch here, a little side bend, whatever feels right for you. When we're ready, we'll unclasp those hands, roll out those wrists, letting our hands come on down to the sides of our bodies. Big inhale to send those hands back and up towards the sky. Let's reverse the direction of those wrist rolls. Nice little flourish. Think magician hands on our way on down. And then when we're ready, we're headed down to the mat for our track for today. So we'll come into a 4-point position. We're going to stack our hands underneath our shoulders. Knees are going to stack underneath our hips. We're going to make a little bit of a modification here to add a little bit of tension by setting our knee on top of a Pilates block here. So we can begin by setting our left knee on top of a Pilates block, and we'll come back into that 4-point position. We want to think about pressing our weight into our first knuckles on our palm. That's going to help relieve a lot of strain out of our wrists here. Then when we're ready, we can take a little curl through those left toes. Our right leg is going to extend long behind us, pointing through our toes here. Nice big inhale. We'll lift through that right leg, drawing it up parallel with our hips. Exhale as we lower it down nice and slow. We're just going to begin with these leg lifts. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. As we're warming up into this movement, we're just pointing through our toes. I want you to really focus on keeping our torso nice and stable. Our line of vision is looking right at our fingertips. Beautiful work. We want to think about if we have our favorite drink resting on top of our tailbone, could we keep it there nice and stable without spilling a single drop? Let's take 2 more lifts here. Beautiful work. Next time we come on up to this top point, can you meet me here? We're going to flex through our foot. We're going to lower down with that flex. We're going to point through our toes as we lift. Flex through our feet as we lower. Beautiful work. Point through those toes to lift. Flex through our foot to lower. See how that little change in the flexion of our foot changes the stretch just a little bit. Beautiful work. Let's stay here for 3. In 2, can you meet me at our top point? And last one. Beautiful work. Next time we come up to this top point, can you meet me here? I want you to find that flex through our foot. From here, we're going to find our rainbow. So we're going to cross that leg on over to the opposite edge of our mat. We're going to take that rainbow back up to our top point. Hold that flex as we lower it on down. So we'll point through our toes. Once we get to that top point, I want you to flex through that foot. Find that rainbow. Hold through that flex as we take that rainbow back to our starting point. Beautiful work. We're working those side glutes. We're going to stay here for 5. Hold that flex through the foot. Check in with those side glutes. Check in with our stability here. Are we keeping our torso nice and stable? We are here for 3. And 2, can you meet me at the edge of our mat? And last one. Beautiful work. Next time we come on up to that top point, can you meet me here? We're coming to the edge of our mat. We're just going to stay with this rainbow, tapping that edge of the mat, lifting it back up to our diagonal. Find that little crossover. Little movements here. Beautiful work. Slow and controlled. Hold that flex. Here for 5. I'm going to think about moving through molasses, moving through honey, moving through slime. Whatever image works for you here. We're here for 3. And 2, you're going to meet me at the top of our diagonal. And last one. Beautiful work. Meet me at the top. We're going to pulse out at this diagonal. Flex through that foot. Draw our heel to the sky. Little tiny movements. Here for 5. Here for 3. In 2. And 1, you're going to take that sweep back to our neutral position. Hold that flex here. Heels to the sky. Here for 5. And 3. Don't drop that leg yet. Here for 2. And 1. Beautiful work. Take that sweep down. We're going to finish working out those side glutes on this side by taking that sweep, opening up our knees to the side of the room, lowering it down nice and slow. Big inhale to lift that knee parallel with our hips. Exhale to lower it down. Find our fire hydrants. Keeping that 90-90 bend in our knee. Here for 4. Keep that torso stable. Here for 3. You're going to pulse it out here in 2. Beautiful work. Last one. Next time we draw that knee to the sky, can you meet me here? We're pulsing it out. Knee to the ceiling. Little tiny movements. 5. And 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful work. Take that sweep of the leg down. Lose that Pilates block for right now. We're going to come into our child's pose. Give our body a little bit of a break. We can bring those ankles together. Widen the straddle of our knees to the edge of the mat. Sit our glutes back onto our heels, stretching those fingertips up towards the tippy top of the mat. Once we're here, we can roll out our wrists. We'll take a couple breaths here, just inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Stay here for 5. When we're ready, let's walk those hands back in towards our chest. We'll come on back into that 4-point position. Stacking those knees underneath our hips, hands underneath our shoulders. We'll take that Pilates block and we're going to switch sides here. So we're going to take that underneath that leg that was just working. We're going to take a tuck through those toes once again. Hands stacking underneath shoulders. We're going to extend that left leg long now, pointing through those toes. We're going to begin with those leg sweeps, just inhaling to lift. Exhaling as we lower it down. Squeeze those glutes. Just warming up through this movement. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. We're keeping those palms spread out, wide base through our hands. Sending that weight into our first knuckles. We're going to play around with that foot flexion here in 2. Next time we come up to this top point, can you meet me here? We're going to flex through that foot as we lower. Point through our toes as we lift. Flex to lower. Point to lift. Beautiful work. Let's stay here for 4. And last 3. And 2, we're going to find those rainbows. Beautiful work. Last one. Next time we come on up to this top point, I want you to find that flex through our foot. We're going to rainbow it over to the opposite corner of the mat. Hold that flex. Lift it back to that top point. Lower it down with that flex. Point through those toes as we lift. At that top point, find that flex through our foot. Find that little rainbow, crossing those glutes. Beautiful work, working through those side glutes. We're here for 5. Hold that flex. Check in with our torso stability. Could we keep that favorite drink resting on top of our tailbone here? Check in with our core. Are we bracing through our center? Here for 2. Beautiful work. Last one. Next time we draw those toes on over to our opposite edge of the mat, I want you to be here. We're just going to lift and lower through this diagonal. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Hold that flex through our foot. Work through those glutes. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Squeeze those glutes at that top point. Find that little pause at the top. Here for 3. We're going to pulse it out here in 2. Last one. Next time we draw those heels to the sky, pulse it out here. Little tiny movements. Heels to the sky. And 5. And 3, you're going to come back to that neutral leg. And 2. And 1, back through center. Pulse it out here. Little tiny movements. 5. And 3. And 2. And 1. Take that knee back to our starting point. Right into those fire hydrants. 90-90 in that knee. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Here for 5. Check in with our torso stability. Check in with our core. Our stabilizing muscles should be complaining. We're going to pulse it out here in 3. You have 2 more. Last one, draw that knee to the sky. Pulse it out here, knees to the ceiling. Little tiny movements. 5. And in 3. Here for 2. And 1. Beautiful work. Lose those Pilates blocks. Shake out those shoulders, shake out those wrists. You killed it. That's our short and sweet track for today. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.